Alright, hello, my name is Soap. My partner here is going to be Magla, or with Syndicate, and right now what I'm here to do is to try to teach you how to do medical RP. So as you can see, we have a member here down on the ground, he's bleeding. Whenever this happens, if you're not in a firefight at the moment, you can perform medical on any member, or really anyone, as soon as the firefighting is done. So you're going to come up to him and check to see if he's even awake. So you're going to come up here. Hey man, you awake? Can you hear me? Can you respond? So right now he's not responding, so he's not responsive. So right now we're gonna type me text pulse. That's gonna be able to check his pulse to see what it's at to see if he's even worth trying to save. So right now he responded with 28 beats per minute is what that means. So he's got a heart rate of 28 right now, which is pretty low. This man's gonna need some medical attention. So now we're gonna check his wounds, see what's hurting him, see why he's got such low heartbeat. So he's got a gunshot wound to the torso. So now, right now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go fetch a first aid kit. All Syndicate vehicles are going to have some form of first aid kit inside of it, especially if you're at the mansion. You can grab one from inside as well. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pack the first aid kit and get everything out that I'm going to need for this. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and pull out some quick clot. He's got a gunshot wound to the torso, and there's not much you can do with the torso, unfortunately. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to clot it up as much as we can. If you don't know what quick clot is, it kind of looks like bandages, but what you do is you stuff the gunshot wound with it. And what it does is it hurries up and seals the bleeding. I'm not sure the actual term of it. I just know it as quick clot. So if anyone else knows it, you can use that terminology as well. So now that we stuffed him, we're going to want to wrap that. So we're going to wrap his wound with gauze. We're going to make sure that it's nice and tight and sealed in any way. If you have to, tape it down, strap it down, whatever it is you got to do to ensure that the tightness stays to stop all bleeding. So now, I'm going to ask him to stop the bleeding to verify that the bleeding has stopped at this time. So the bleeding has stopped. Now I'm going to go ahead and recheck his pulse to see what it's at the moment. As you can see, his blood beats per minute has risen to 35, which is still a little low. So what you can do at this time, go ahead and give him a little bit of morphine. That always wakes him up. Always gives them that little bit of numbness that they need to fight off that, gunshot wound. And now our buddy's back up. Are you good, man? Can you hear me now?
Oh, fuck me.
That didn't look too good, man.
Yep, gunshot.
So now you're gonna go ahead and help him up. And now he should be able to walk around freely again. He might still be a little hurt, so if he needs to, you can always get whatever it is you need, get him inside, get him wherever he needs to go to ensure that he's safe and sound. Other things that you could do as well is, let's say he was on the ground and let's say he got gunshot wounds to the either arms or his legs. The thing you could do to first start off with that is to tourniquet them. All right, so now we got a down patient again. Don't know how that happened. Weird. You're gonna come up and you're gonna go ahead and check on them now. First, you always want to come up to see if they're conscious. Hey, man, can you hear me? Hello? Are you there, man?
Fuck. God,
so he is responsive, which is good. What you could do then, are you able to operate on yourself, man?
No, I don't know what I'm doing.
Alright, he doesn't know what he's doing, and he can't operate himself, so now it's going to be up to you to help him out. Alright, where are you hurting, man?
My right leg, gunshot.
Okay, so he's able to tell us that his leg, and you can obviously see, but sometimes you want to verify, that his leg was the one that was shot. So what I'm going to do now is if you don't have a first aid kit on you, you could always remove their belt or your belt if they have one or if you have one, to go ahead and use that as some form of a tourniquet in order to stop the bleeding with his leg. Now, what a tourniquet is you basically wrap the leg from the highest point that you can reach on their thigh, and it's like a strap, or in this case, a belt. You tighten it as hard and as best as you can, and what that's going to do is cut off most of the blood vessels to ensure that no more blood is getting down to that wound. So now that there's no more blood that should be getting down there, you're going to go ahead and wrap that leg with some gauze there. It's just to double check and clean it up any way that you can. Ensure that you stop the bleeding. That's the best thing that you can do at this time is just to stop bleeding. I'm going to say that a lot because massive hemorrhaging is the #1 killer in most people. So you're going to stop the bleeding. Now that I've done that, I can go ahead. Now that I got it secured, the gauze is on there. I can go ahead and remove the tourniquet. Double check. But the bleeding has stopped. Now that has happened, and since he is conscious, he should be able to get up on his own. You shouldn't have to give him any morphine. He's going to be hurting for a second. If he wants to get up himself, he can. You can still type just in case if you need to. You can still help him up if you want to do that. And now he's able to walk around and do what he needs to do. He's going to be walking around a little injured still, obviously, because his leg's pretty fucked. And then the same thing would apply with the arm. Any leg or arm injuries that they might have, you always want to tourniquet first because that cuts off the vessels to ensure that bleeding is stopping. Then you want to just clean up the wound as much as you can and wrap it however you can. After you've done that, then you can remove the tourniquet, double check to see if the bleeding has stopped, and if so, just help them up. Alright, so now we got another down patient here. Again, you're always going to come up. Hey man, can you hear me? Are you alright? He's not responding. So what I'm going to do is first check his heart rate. See what it's setting at to see if he's even worth trying to save at this point. Luckily, he's got a 20 beats per minute, so he is still worth saving. Now I'm going to go ahead and check his wound now. Okay, so he's got a gunshot wound to the chest. There's no exit wound, so at this time we're going to go ahead and operate on the chest. So what you're going to want to do is grab your first aid kit. When you have a chest wound, you're always going to want to clean the chest wound. You're going to want to clean around it because what you're going to have to do is most likely you're going to add some kind of plastic, usually at least 2 inches or thicker plastic to the chest wound. And you're going to want to tape it down. And the reason for this is because you don't want air, if he's got shot in the lung or anything, you don't want air escaping through that hole. When you do this, when you go ahead and put the plastic on the chest, you always want to do it when they're on their exhale they're breathing, you want to do it on the exhale to let them release as much air as possible. You don't want to have their, their chest or the open wound filled with air and then tape it down. That's just going to be a bad day for him. So now what you're going to do, you're going to check the rise and fall of their chest and see that it's even. Okay, so the chest is not rising and falling equally, so therefore I'm going to see what side is not rising right. Right, so it's going to be his left side. So you're going to come over to his left side. You're going to want to feel his chest or his sides and feel for the third and the fourth rib, verifying which one's the third and which one's the fourth. What you're going to want to do then is once you found that, I forget the terminology of it, but for now I'm going to call it a needle. You're going to insert the needle between the third and fourth rib, outside of where the nipple would lie. And you want to make sure that you do it at a 90-degree angle. What this is going to do is go ahead and create an airway for that lung. That way it can, what it's going to do is make it to where you can, you'll hear usually a pop or a hiss when this happens to make sure that it works right. It's going to go ahead and release any fluid that might be in that lung, making it to where it can't heal properly, and also give it a way to get air into that lung so that way you don't lose a lung. We're then going to tape down. So you're going to tape it down to ensure that it doesn't fall out of them. They usually call it the pants trick. You're going to rip the tape kind of in half, making it look like a pair of pants. And you're going to wrap it around that needle to ensure that it stays in place. And then you're going to want to roll him on the side of the injury to ensure that that fluid can come out as needed. You're going to put him in a resting position, meaning that his arm, whatever side he's laying on, that arm is angled in such a way he can protect his head, kind of like a pillow, and you're going to keep his legs crossed to ensure that he's in a comfortable state. He's relaxed at this time. You're going to double check the rise and fall of the chest, ensure that it is rising and falling at this time evenly, hopefully. There you go. We got it even. So now we're going to go ahead, check his pulse. Okay, it has risen. It's now to 30. Seeming he's still unconscious. So we're going to go ahead, give that sucker some morphine. Everyone's favorite. And now he's getting up. Hey, man, you back with me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, that's good, man. That looked like one hell of a nasty shot, man.
Yeah, it definitely was.
You're going to want to then help him up. And now he's back at it. He can get whatever treatment he feels he's going to need at this time. The biggest thing to remember from this, at least, is with a chest wound, and if they have a exit wound, finding the exit wound. Usually, if they have a chest wound, it's probably going to come out the back. You want to use plastic. And the only reason why you want to do that is you want it to be thick enough. You don't want no gauze. You don't want no quick clot. You don't want to use none of that. You want plastic to cover the hole to ensure that they still are able to get air into the chest or into their lungs without air escaping the gun wound. That's a terrible thing. I forget the medical terminology of it, but that can easily kill them. Definitely got into a car wreck. So the first thing you're gonna do is come up to either side. Sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me at this time? Okay, it seems he's unconscious. So we're gonna have to go to his side. I'm gonna try to check his pulse here. Luckily his window's been smashed out so I can reach in there. He's got a 40 heart rate, so he's not too banged up. He's probably just unconscious. Still. I'm gonna check him for any visible wounds, see if there's anything that you can see from the car wreck to see what might be causing him any pain. So he's got a few dents and bruises and scratches here. You know, nothing too major. It doesn't look like. So what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna try to open the door, see if it's even able to be opened. So the door has opened. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and grab him and gently. Oh, we're gonna go ahead and carry him out of the car, or not. Why can I not grab you? Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and drag him out of the car here. You can do that by pressing by doing T/carry, and then to release him, you just do the same thing, T/carry. So he is still unconscious. We're gonna go ahead and just try to clean up, give a little bit of bandage to any of his wounds here.
There's more wounds.
Bandage any of the visible wounds at this time. And then while we're at it, since he was in the car and he wasn't able to not be fully seen, we're going to check for any more wounds that he may have that may be fully visible now to us because he's out of the car. Okay, so right now we definitely know he's got a broken leg. It does not. It looks pretty jacked up. He may also have a concussion because of the wreck. However, we won't be able to definitely be able to determine that. So what you're going to do is with your first aid kit is pull out a splint. You're going to want to go ahead and splint the broken leg and wrap it with any form of anything that you can wrap the splint with to ensure that it's nice and tight on the leg. You definitely want to ensure that the leg cannot move as much as possible. You want to try to keep it straight. That way, no further injuries can come from the broken wound, especially broken bones. Broken bones can cause internal bleeding. We're not actually doctors, so we won't be able to determine that. So we're gonna go see if he's conscious. Sir, are you with me? Are you conscious? So he's not conscious. So what you want to do is you want to gently carry him to ensure you don't cause any more stress or damage to the body as much as you can. Then at this time, you want to try to transport him to a hospital. You'll transport him to a hospital, get him admitted in. Do you want me to actually drive to a hospital or just say we did?
Just say we did.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and transport him to a hospital. He's gonna go get looked at by professionals. Admit him in, and they'll do their thing. They'll let him go, and bada boom, bada bang. Now for the sake of the, you want me to, whatever. So you'll actually take him to the hospital. The three hospitals that I'm aware of is there's one in Sandy Shores behind the police department's office there. There's another medical station in Los Santos down the street from the police station they have there. It's going to be at 8038. And those are the only two that I really know of. There may be more. However, unfortunately, I don't know of any more. But you're going to want to take them to, there's one in Paleto Bay at 1047. Any of those hospitals will do. If you cannot give them the treatment they need, you're going to want to try to transfer them to one of those hospitals as soon as possible before they cause any further injury and or they have internal bleeding that you're unaware of and end up bleeding out. And I think that's all I got.
And that's your guys' medical
I'm going to
training
look
for
up
Syndicate.
what that shit's called.